Hi, Aquarius. Happy birthday to my January Aquarius friends. I'm going to be real honest with you guys. I have like a million things that I'm supposed to be doing right now because I have surgery on January 3rd and I have to get a lot of stuff done and just like get it all accomplished. And I know that kind of sounds far away because I'm doing your reading on December 29th, but I had to do your reading. Like, the 12th house energy that you guys will be living through in January and have been living through in December. Um, it's intense. It's really, it's a lot to sit with yourself like that in so many ways. And so yeah, so I had to do your reading. I was very distracted all morning and I could not figure out like what the hell was going on with me. And I knew that I wanted to do your reading today. And I was excited to get it done. But I wasn't sure if I was going to have the time. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just doing this because this is what I want. So, January. So there's a lot going on in January. I just finished your Aquarius, the rising sign astrology. All of the rising signs are going to be published. I was hoping to do it by the 31st, but it's going to be on the 1st of January at midnight Mountain Time. So, like, Happy New Year, everybody. Here's a gift. But yeah, so the rising signs will be on Patreon. If you want to go check that out, I'm also going to be making them individually able to purchase on January 1st. I'll put them up individually able to purchase. So if you don't want to become a member of Patreon and you just would like to support by purchasing the video, you can do that too. But I do want to talk about the astrology a little bit because Pluto will be ingressing Aquarius on January 20th. And Pluto will have that conjunction with the sun the same day. The sun moves into your sign. Everything happens on the 20th of January. And it's just this huge shift from, um, just this kind of totally different era and totally different, like, I'm moving into a new existence. I'm moving into a new life. I'm leaving my old ways behind. And I say this with a lot of optimism. And I say this with a lot of optimism as you guys are going through this 12th house. Capricorn season is your 12th house. And all of the planets are moving into Capricorn season or into Capricorn in January. Or re-entering. Mercury's re-entering Capricorn. Venus is in Capricorn on the 4th. We have Mars will be going into all of the planets will be going into your 12th house in January, even though the sun will be moving into your first house on the 20th. And so there's sort of this like paradox of time that you're going through right now, where you're shedding the past and you're kind of like rebuilding, like there's this renewal, And Pluto ingressing Aquarius doesn't mean that we're all going to be saved and humanity's going to, everything's going to, come to a beautiful crescendo or, whatever. Pluto is very much, that's the transformational energy. And when Pluto's transiting anywhere, moving from Capricorn into Aquarius, moving from the structure into this humanitarian, technological, more detached kind of energy and feeling, there's going to be a lot of unexpected changes, I think, that's going to be happening. And it has to happen because of where humanity is, and so, for you guys, I'm a first house Pluto natal, first house Pluto, and I talk about this in the Aquarius rising. You can watch it for your rising and for your sun sign. But I'm a first house Pluto, and so you'll have Pluto in your first house for until 2043. There's going to be one more brief regress back to Capricorn but you'll have Pluto there until 2043 in your first house. And so you will be transformed. You will be changed. Speaking as a natal first house Pluto, there's this growth that's happening with you, and a lot of that is a lot of that is has to be torn down first. A lot of that has to be kind of looked at and rearranged. Pluto's a transformational energy. He transmutes things from darkness into light, and it's the destruction. And everybody's like, oh well, we don't want to talk about the doom and gloom, and I'm not here to scare anybody or anything like that. It is just a fact of life that change and evolution is just a part of all of this. It's funny, I looked at the time of the video and it was at 5:55 when I said that. That number follows me a lot. I'm Uranus dominant. So that's one of the reasons why I love Aquarians, because you guys are ruled by Uranus and Saturn, and I am Uranus and Saturn dominant. I am not even kidding you. Yes, the Virgo. It's Uranus and Saturn dominant. Okay, so January is going to be a time of really tapping into your inner knowing and that intuition and that inner knowledge. You're going somewhere, right? We have 3 knights here, which is really interesting because the knights are the ones that kind of bridge the traveling, right? We start as the page where it's the beginning of the journey, and then the knight is the journey. That's the bridge to the traveling. We have the Knight of Pentacles, we have the Knight of Cups, and we have the Knight of Wands here. And then with these knights, we have 3 major arcana. The High Priestess, we have the Magician. I'm going to try not to talk too loud because the microphone distorts when I do that, so I apologize. I'm going to try not to do that. I just get real excited in the readings. High Priestess, the Magician, and then we have the Hermit. Could be dealing with a Pisces energy, Sagittarius, Virgo, even Gemini, really any sign, you guys. You could be dealing with any of this. I feel like this is all about you. And you may have other people in your space and around you right now. But I feel like this is a journey for you, very 12th house inner journey for you. And I feel like, with the Knight of Pentacles, it's the, taking your time and taking one step at a time, it's about not skipping the steps, right? And the Knight of Cups is, the bridging of that love and the healing, right? When someone brings you words of love or presents or gifts or something in some way, and honestly it could just be words, just could be somebody's presence sitting next to you, and that's a gift for you. That's the Knight of Cups. It's very much like a giving a gift. And then we have the Knight of Wands, where that night, the bridge of the night, it's like, I'm not really sure what to do. I don't really know what to do, except for you do know what to do. And so grounding yourself in not trying to get there too quickly, because you're bridging yourself from one life to another. And I feel like this Pluto ingress to Aquarius is a very big representation of that for you. You're bridging an old life and you're starting a whole new era. Whole new era of your life is beginning. That's really scary. The Magician and the Hermit. Most of my manifesting I do without people around, without any other energies around, without any, and I do a lot of reminding myself that it's a journey. It's not really about the destination. It's a whole journey that we're going into. So let's clarify some things here, because you have the tools to do this, but I think that the fear is the showing up for yourself to do. That's really hard. You guys, like, seriously, I'm going to tell you a story real quick before we clarify. Bear with me. Back in 2019, it was 2019, I was starting to feel sick. I had gained a whole bunch of weight and I was really starting to feel sick, but I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I thought it was all the weight that I had gained. So I started walking and stuff like that. And my channel was really, really successful at the time, right? And I got scared. I got really, really scared. And I think a lot of it is because I just wasn't feeling very good. I was having some dental issues. And unfortunately, I had already had cancer. I just didn't realize it until 2 years later when I was diagnosed, because it's a very slow moving, slow progressing, it's a chronic cancer. Okay. Just like, just long-term diseases. So I didn't really, it was very slow moving. But I think that was the fear, is that I just wasn't feeling well. And so I couldn't really trust a lot of the decisions I was making, and I pulled away, and I couldn't show up for myself in that, because I really wasn't, I couldn't show up for other people, right? In that, but I felt like I was letting people down, and I was letting myself down, and all of that. And then I realized that it was necessary for me to pull away during that time. It was necessary for me to show up for myself. That's where I was getting at, hermit, right? I manifested that part of my life. And now I know why. I didn't know why then, but now I do. Now I understand why it all needed to happen. And I'm not saying that you guys are all going to go into hermit mode for several years, because that's what ended up happening to me. That was the best for me, right? And I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen to you, but January definitely is one of those times where, especially, the first half, you really want to be able to get everything, let's get grounded with yourself before moving forward. Make sure that you're taking every step. And the high priestess is your own intuition. What it is that has to be done. What's going to balance your energy out in your life. What is needed. We're just going to go ahead and clarify everything here. Whoop. I'm going to take those. That was like a whole pile that was a heavy plop. And I feel like a lot of this is finding some patience and grace for yourself as you step into a whole new, bright, shiny, just like, let's get right, pull up our sleeves here. 3 of Pentacles. This is it, the rebuilding of your foundation. There's a whole foundation, new foundation. And I feel like with the 3 of Pentacles on the Knight of Pentacles, you're very much aware as you're stepping into January, because the beginning of January is going to feel really weird and kind of like dull and like, dragging ass to get. I said that to somebody today, dragging ass to get across the finish line. That's what coming into January, that's what it's going to feel like. So that 3 of Pentacles is like, you've got, like, this is, think about all the other foundations you've built in your life. This one's going to take just as much time. And you're like, but what if I don't have all the, don't think about the what ifs. Don't think about the time that you have, because there's a rush that you really want to come into here. There are some unknown answers that you have in your life. We have the Moon and Justice here on the High Priestess. And even though intuitively, in your gut and probably even your third eye intuition at this point, you know what it is that you're supposed to be doing in order to balance out the energies in order to bring justice into your life. These are all major arcanas here. We have the moon and justice on the high priestess. And so even if you don't know what the destination, what the final destination is going to look like, no such thing. We have a whole bunch of different destinations along the way. It's the journey. And I love that in the moon card, that's what's depicted here is the journey down the road. I'm going to get real wordy with you guys. Sorry. I didn't do bottom of the deck is the 8 of Cups. And it really does feel like a journey, like a new era. You're on a journey. It's just, walking into like a new life. And I know that you want to rush into things, but I feel like if you rush into things, you're going to miss out on some of the really sweet parts of life. You want to reach that you want to get to the answer part. You want to figure out how this is all going to go so you can relax and not worry about it. Except if you know how all this is going to go, then what's the point? The 4 of Cups and the Knight of Swords on the Knight of Cups. Now we have all 4 of the knights here. So this is definitely a journey for you. And I feel like, again, it's a journey of patience and it's a journey of grace. And it's a journey of reminding yourself that it's a journey. It's a marathon and it's not a sprint. Page of Swords on the Knight of Wands. When in doubt, when you don't know the answer, get real honest with yourself, because usually you don't know what answer to choose or what the answer is because you're not being honest about what you already know to be true, right? High Priestess energy up here. You already know what you're supposed to be doing, where you're supposed to be going. It's a fear, right? It's a fear. And sometimes when we get that fear, we can really paralyze ourselves into like not doing anything. And so getting really honest with yourself. Part of this honesty is how do I want to put this? Part of this honesty is a recognition of the things that you're still holding on to and being afraid to let that go. And there could be all the reasons of all the fear. Well, Betsy, I have this fear of this, and I have this fear of this, and I have this fear of this, and all of these things. And it's like, I mean, I understand. Look at this cool. Look at that. How cute is this Virgo cup, you guys? We have other cups up on the website too. So that's in the description box. If you're afraid of where you're going, you're never going to make the decisions to continue moving forward. Because fear can paralyze you. Fear can motivate you or it can paralyze you. But after, it's up to you to let it do what it's meant to do for you. The 3 of Cups on the Magician. I feel like there's, you're really manifesting like a soul group right now. And I really feel like you're manifesting people in your life that you can trust. And I feel like you're manifesting, it's kind of like, it almost feels like a elder group. I mean, even if you guys are in your 20s, it feels like you're like an elder group just hanging out and sitting around and like figuring your things out together. And I want you to allow yourself to have that. 2 of Swords on the Hermit. Some of you may not know what to do about a Virgo in your life. Some of you may not know what to do with a Pisces either in your life, or even a Libra. There's Libra energy here too. Sagittarius and Gemini. But the Two of Swords makes me feel like in a lot of ways that you do have decisions that you need to make, and you do know that these decisions are going to take you on a journey, and it's probably going to be a pretty like a lone wolf hermit kind of journey where you may not have a whole lot of answers right away, but if you keep on looking and you keep on going, Virgos dig for answers, Virgos and Scorpios too, but Virgos are very good at figuring out, just by looking at everything, right? All the little, and we do it in like a hot second. We think about all the ways that things could go, So, I feel like sometimes with the Two of Swords, you can become almost apathetic because of the paralyzing. Because the Two of Swords can feel like fear, not wanting to see the answer to the questions that you have. Bottom of the deck, we have the Eight of Cups and the Six of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune. Ooh, Five of Cups in the World. If you guys were wondering if it was going to work out, it will. It's time for your energy to shift. It's time for your energy to shift, and it's time for you to allow that shift and that grief, the closure. This feels like closure. It's time for your energy to shift back into abundance mode. And there's going to be some grief with that, because there is some stuff that is not meant to come with you. But yeah, the Six of Pentacles and the Eight of Cups. Your energy focus in January is about walking into a new life and a new era. And that is going to require you to be honest with yourself on what you have to leave behind. And it's time. It's time. You feel it. I love you guys. I'm so excited for you and the new foundations and the new things that are coming. So have a wonderful January and take really good care of yourselves. And I will see you very, very soon. Bye.